She said, "Relax, it's just for work." When I saw her phone recording at 33 minutes, I replied, "That's fine," paid the bill, walked out quietly, and let her call me abusive online, until someone from her inner circle, finally. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what happened last night, and I need some perspective because I'm second-guessing everything. I'm Raphael, 32M, work as a route delivery driver in the greater LA area. I've been single for about a year after my last relationship ended, and I decided to try dating apps again. Matched with this woman Blair, 27F, who works as a social media coordinator for some boutique fitness place. We'd been texting for about 2 weeks, and she seemed cool. Good conversation, shared some interests, nothing felt off. We agreed to meet at this patio restaurant in West Hollywood for dinner. I got there first, grabbed a table outside, and when she showed up, everything seemed normal. She was friendly, looked like her photos, conversation flowed pretty naturally. We ordered drinks and some appetizers to share. About 20 minutes in, she put her phone down on the table between us, face down. I didn't think anything of it. Most people do that on dates to be polite. We kept talking, laughing about some story she was telling about her coworkers. When our food arrived, the server needed more space on the table to set everything down. I reached over to move Blair's phone out of the way, just shifting it to the side so they could put the plates down. That's when I saw it. The screen was on, and there was a recording app running. Active timer, red recording button, the whole thing. I could see it had been going for over 30 minutes. I just stared at it for a second, trying to process what I was seeing. Then I looked up at her. "Are you recording this conversation right now?" She got this deer-in-headlights look and started stuttering. "Oh, that's just... I forgot I had that running from earlier." "Earlier when?" "This timer shows 33 minutes. I was recording voice memos for work before I got here, and I must have left it on by accident. But here's the thing. I work a job where I have to be really careful about my record staying clean. Any kind of legal trouble, harassment complaints, anything like that could cost me my livelihood. The idea that someone was secretly recording me without my knowledge, especially someone I barely know, made my blood pressure spike. "Why didn't you tell me you were recording?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "I wasn't. It was an accident." "Blair, you put the phone face down. If this was accidental, you would have noticed it was still recording when you set it down." She started getting defensive, saying I was overreacting, that she wasn't doing anything wrong. But I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't accidental at all. I stood up and flagged down our server. Paid for everything we'd ordered, including the food that had just arrived. Told Blair I was leaving. "You can't just abandon me here," she said. "We came separately, but you said you might give me a ride home. That was before I found out you were recording me without my permission. I'm not comfortable continuing this date." I left. Drove straight home, and I've been questioning myself ever since. On one hand, maybe it really was an accident. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I should have given her a chance to explain better. On the other hand, who accidentally records a 30-minute conversation without noticing? And even if it was an accident, why get defensive instead of immediately apologizing and deleting it? I keep thinking about my coworker Evan, who went through a nightmare situation last year where a woman he dated briefly made false accusations about him online. He almost lost his job before everything got sorted out. I can't afford that kind of risk, but I also feel like an ass for walking out without giving her a real chance to explain. She seemed genuinely surprised when I called her out on it. So was I the asshole for leaving immediately? Should I have stayed and tried to work it out? Edit. Some people are asking why I'm so paranoid about recordings. I'm a Latino immigrant. Been here legally for 8 years but still working on my citizenship. My job requires background checks and a clean record. Any kind of harassment complaint, legal issue, or social media controversy could seriously impact my employment and immigration status. I have to be more careful than most people about situations that could be twisted against me. Update 1. This situation has blown up way beyond what I expected, and I'm honestly scared about where it's heading. A few hours after I posted yesterday, my friend Lena, who's a bartender and knows the LA dating scene pretty well, texted me asking if I'd been on a date with someone named Blair. Apparently this woman had posted a story on her social media calling me out by name and describing me as aggressive and abusive. I asked Lena to screenshot what she could see before it disappeared. The story said something like, "Just had the worst first date experience with an abusive man who screamed at me in public and then abandoned me at the restaurant. Ladies, watch out for Raphael O. He has serious anger issues and dangerous behavior." I never screamed. I never raised my voice. I paid for the entire meal and left calmly. But she's out there telling people I was abusive. This is exactly the kind of situation I was afraid of when I found that recording. Now I'm wondering if that's why she was recording in the first place, to try to capture something she could use against me. I went back through our text conversations to see if I missed any red flags. There were a few messages where she mentioned recording things for her content and talking about how she documents stuff for her followers. At the time, I thought she just meant normal social media posts, but now I'm wondering if this was planned. The worst part is that she's technically not lying about some details. I did curse when I saw the recording. I said, "Why are you recording this?" and probably had an expletive in there because I was shocked. And I did leave her at the restaurant, even though we'd discussed me possibly giving her a ride home. But the way she's framing it makes it sound like I was verbally aggressive and abandoned her maliciously, when the reality is I discovered a major privacy violation and removed myself from an uncomfortable situation. My friend Evan, the one I mentioned who went through false accusations, told me I need to document everything and stay far away from this woman. "Don't engage, don't defend yourself publicly, just let it blow over," he said. But it's hard to just sit back and let someone spread lies about you being abusive when that could seriously impact your life, especially when you're in a vulnerable position immigration-wise and career-wise. Lena said the story only had a few views and might just disappear on its own. But I'm worried about what happens if this spreads, or if she decides to escalate it further. I'm also second-guessing my decision to leave. Maybe if I'd stayed and talked it through, this wouldn't have happened. But then again, if someone is willing to secretly record you and then lie about you online, maybe there was no good outcome either way. Has anyone dealt with something like this before? I'm trying to figure out if I should respond somehow or just hope it goes away. Update 2. The situation has gotten even weirder, and honestly more disturbing than I initially thought. Yesterday, I decided to reach out to Blair privately to try to resolve this. I sent her a polite message asking if we could talk and clear up the misunderstanding, and maybe she could remove the posts about me since they weren't accurate. Her response was immediate and aggressive. "You're trying to intimidate me now. This is exactly the controlling behavior I was talking about. You're proving my point about how dangerous you are." I was stunned. I'd been respectful and just asked for a conversation, but she was treating my attempt to communicate like it was some kind of threat. That evening, I got a DM from someone I didn't know. It was a woman who said she was in a group chat with Blair and some of her friends, and she felt like I deserved to know what was really going on. She sent me screenshots from their group chat that made my stomach drop. The conversation was from before our date. Blair had written, "Going on a first date tonight. Gonna record it for potential content. If it goes well, I get cute relationship content. If it goes badly, I get outrage content. Either way, it's engagement for my page." One of her friends asked what she meant by outrage content. Blair's response, "You know, toxic masculinity, bad date stories, red flags. My followers eat that stuff up. At minimum, I need to get him to react to something so I have a clip to work with." Another friend wrote, "What if he's actually a nice guy and doesn't give you anything to work with?" Blair, "Then I'll have to find a way to push some buttons. Guys always have triggers if you know how to find them." Reading those messages, everything clicked into place. The recording wasn't accidental. Finding it wasn't bad luck. She had planned to create content from our date regardless of how it went, and when I reacted to being secretly recorded, that became her abusive man storyline. The person who sent me the screenshots said she left the group chat after that conversation because it made her uncomfortable. She'd been following the social media posts and felt like Blair was going too far. I called my friend Evan and read him the messages. His response was immediate. "Dude, this is psychotic. She was basically hunting for content to make you look bad, and when you had a normal human reaction to being violated, she turned that into her story. I've been going back and forth about what to do with this information. Part of me wants to expose her for what she really did, but Evan and my other friend Miles, my route supervisor, both said the same thing. Don't touch this. Document everything, but don't engage. The more you respond, the more content she gets. Miles especially was concerned about my job security. Raphael, you cannot afford to get into a social media war with someone who's already lying about you. Keep your head down and let this blow over. The hard part is watching someone lie about you and not being able to defend yourself. But I'm starting to understand that engaging with someone who planned to manipulate me from the beginning isn't going to lead anywhere good. I've saved all the screenshots and documented everything, but I'm trying to follow my friend's advice and just stay away from the situation entirely. It's messed up how someone can plan to exploit you for content, violate your privacy to do it, and then when you protect yourself, turn you into the villain of their story. Final update. The last week has been a roller coaster, but it's finally over, and not in any way I could have predicted. After my last update, I followed my friend's advice and completely disengaged. I didn't respond to any more of Blair's posts, didn't try to defend myself, just focused on work and staying out of drama. But apparently, Blair couldn't leave it alone. A few days ago, she posted a news story doubling down on her claims about me being abusive and controlling. She was responding to people who had apparently started questioning her version of events. I guess the person who leaked the group chat screenshots wasn't the only one who got uncomfortable with the situation. In this new post, she was getting really defensive, saying things like, "I don't need to prove anything to anyone," and "women know when they're in danger." She was trying to make it about people not believing women, which honestly made me sick because she was using real issues to cover for her lies. But here's where she messed up. When you're editing videos or audio on your phone, sometimes you don't catch every piece when you're cutting things together. Blair posted a video response to her critics, and at the very end, there was about 3 seconds of audio that she forgot to cut out. You could clearly hear her voice saying, "If he hadn't gotten mad about the recording, I wouldn't have had any good content from that date." Multiple people caught it before she could delete and repost. Screenshots and screen recordings started circulating immediately. Within hours, the whole narrative flipped. People started calling her out for admitting that she had been trying to create content, and that my reaction to being secretly recorded was exactly what she wanted. Some of the comments were brutal. People were talking about consent and privacy violations, asking how she would feel if a man secretly recorded her without permission. Her own followers started turning on her. The fitness studio where she works got tagged in some of the posts. Apparently, her manager called her in yesterday and told her she needed to stop posting anything related to this situation because it was reflecting poorly on their business. Grant, one of Blair's friends who had been supporting her online, sent me a DM apologizing. He said he felt manipulated and hadn't known about the planned content strategy. He said several of their mutual friends had distanced themselves from her after everything came out. I haven't heard directly from Blair since her audio slip-up. All the posts about me have been deleted, and her social media has been pretty quiet. My friend Lena, who first told me about the posts, checked in with me yesterday. "You handled that exactly right," she said. "You didn't take the bait, didn't get dragged into a social media fight, and the truth came out anyway. The thing that bothers me most about this whole situation isn't even what happened to me. It's thinking about how many other people she might have done this to, or how many people might see her success with this strategy and decide to try it themselves. Dating is already complicated enough without having to worry about whether someone is planning to exploit you for content. The idea that someone would violate your privacy, plan to manipulate you, and then destroy your reputation when you protect yourself is honestly terrifying. I'm back to focusing on work and normal life. Still not sure when I'll be ready to try dating again, but I've definitely learned to trust my instincts. When something feels wrong, it usually is, and you don't owe anyone the benefit of the doubt at the expense of your own safety and peace of mind. To anyone dealing with a similar situation, document everything, don't engage with the manipulation, and trust that the truth has a way of coming out eventually. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just step back and let people show who they really are. Eat it. A few people have asked if I'm going to pursue any legal action. I've talked to a lawyer friend who said that while what she did was definitely unethical, it would be hard to prove damages, and the situation has essentially resolved itself. Plus, any legal action would just give her more opportunities to create drama and content. I'm choosing to move on and focus on the fact that my name has been cleared. Edit 2. For anyone wondering about the dating app angle, I reported her profile with screenshots of the evidence, and they removed her account for violating their community guidelines about consent and harassment. Small justice, but at least other people won't have to deal with her content hunting schemes.